يوم الدين اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما اللهم انزل علينا بحكمتك وانشر علينا برحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الكرام ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. So first of all, I would like to thank you for all the participants, the students, doctors, and all the lecturers for coming to our postgraduate webinar series today. I would like to thank you for your time in coming in this studio session. So in this today's session, we are going to be having Associate Professor Dr. Shazali Sharif. So in this today's topic, we are going to be look into the topic regarding the qualitative analysis, in which we are going to look into the differences and contrasts between the narrative as well as the thematic analysis. So in the previous webinar series, we have looked into the quantitative analysis in regard to the use of SPSS as well as the common analysis being used in the quantitative analysis. So in this studio session, we are focusing our topic into the qualitative aspect of the research approach. So without further ado, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Shazali Sharif to begin our webinar series today.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Muhammad Nur Azmin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. To all students, again, my name is Muhammad Shazali Sharif. I'm a KPP, or the head of culinary arts and gastronomy, and I will share with you on the narrative and quantitative narrative and
nanti I bagi tahu balik.
Okay, I will share with you the what we call that, the analysis based on the thematic analysis versus narrative analysis. Okay, so without further ado, I will share my slide. Okay, can you see it? All right, as everybody can see my slide.
Yes, clear. I can see your slide.
Okay, good. So this is our topic for today. It is about the thematic analysis and thematic versus narrative in qualitative analysis. Okay. So actually, what exactly is qualitative data analysis? Okay. So before we go much further, so I need to clear up that you must know what is qualitative data analysis all about. So qualitative data refer to any data that is not numbers. Okay. So what means by not numbers? It can be pictures. Okay. It can be conversations, which you already type it. Okay. The conversation can be typed, written, or can be recorded. Okay. It can be based also from a movie. Okay. From a drama. Any data which is not numbers. Okay. So that is what normally we relate the qualitative data all about. Okay, in other words, it's not the things that can be measured using a fixed scale or complex statistic or mathematics. Okay, so it's very flexible. Okay, when you see someone walk or somebody do a conversation or somebody do some activities, that it can be considered as a data for you based on what you want to look at. Okay, and qualitative data, okay, can and often does take the form of interview, transcript, documents, and open-ended survey, okay, responses. It can also involve the interpretation of image and videos, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah. In other words, qualitative data isn't just limited to the tag-based data only. Okay. It's very unique and it not just only focus on numbers. That is the most important you need to understand. Next, okay, the difference from quantitative data. Okay, qualitative research focuses on words, okay, descriptions, concept or idea. Okay, quantitative research focus on numbers and statistics. So if you want to prove something, you have to prove from numbers and statistics. So you get your argument. Whereas for the qualitative research, okay, you can impress from your words. Okay, you can impress from the pictures that you have, or during the field work, you take some photos, and that can be an evidence. Okay, during the interview sessions, also you can take pictures or demonstration. You can take pictures and you can use that as your evidence. Okay, so that is the uniqueness of qualitative research. Okay, and normally quantitative research, sometimes people want to prove what we call the theories, okay, the model, so that they do the quantitative research in order to confirm it. Okay, and then qualitative research investigate the softer side of things to explore and describe. Okay, whereas quantitative research focuses on the hard numbers to measure differences between variable and the relationship between them. Okay, so that are some of the differences when we talk about qualitative and quantitative. Okay, so this is the diagram to show difference on the qualitative and the quantitative. Okay, so for the qualitative, actually we don't look at the sample size so much. Okay, quantitative, yes, they look into the sample size. Okay, but qualitative, they are much towards depth of info. So the information have to be in depth. Okay, because from there we need to explore and use that as your findings. Okay. And the qualitative data analysis method, okay, they have many, but these are the 6 most popular use, okay, in research. Okay, so what are 6 of them? One is the qualitative content analysis. Okay, and then they have narrative analysis, and then they have discourse analysis. We have a thematic analysis, and we have the grounded theory. And the last one is the interpretative phenomenological analysis, which is IPA. Okay, so the most popular is the 6, but based from my experience, what I can see, most students use for the qualitative, the student use thematic analysis. Okay, like for me now, I rather encourage students to also do the narrative analysis. Okay, later I will tell you why I always promote to do the narrative analysis. Okay, so about the 6, all these 6 things, or the other 4 things, if you want to know more further, you need to Google, or you can read a lot of books, okay, available. Yeah, okay, so we go straight away discuss about what is thematic analysis. Okay, thematic analysis is a method for analyzing qualitative data that entails searching across a data set to identify, analyze, and report the repeated pattern. Okay, it is a method for describing data, but it also involved in interpretation in the process of selecting codes and constructing themes. Okay, so what actually thematic analysis did? Okay, thematic analysis actually they will it's a process whereby you gather the data, okay, you got from the interviewing process or from the observation process, and you do it into codes. Okay, you separate it into codes, then later you construct it into theme. Yeah, and in other words, it's about analyzing the themes within your data set to identify meaning. You don't worry so much. I will show you some example of how my students do the thematic analysis afterwards. Okay, and most importantly, this process is driven by your research question. Yes, it's very important, by your research question and also your research objective. Okay, you have to ensure that your research objective is suitable for the thematic analysis. All right, if you want to do the thematic analysis, you need to identify which method that you want to use. Either is you want to do observation, are you going to do interviewing? So if you want to do interviewing or even observation, thematic analysis is one of the good method for doing the analysis. Okay, so it's not necessary to identify every possible theme in the data, but rather to focus on the key aspect that relate to your research question. So that is very important, that your research questions, okay, can be processed or can be used in the thematic analysis. Okay. Okay, although you begin your study with a research question, it's important to remember that these questions are not necessarily fixed. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, the question here is when you have research question and you will develop it into your interview question. So in your interview question, you can adjust the question accordingly. All right, as long that it will reach your main question. Okay, as thematic analysis tend to be a bit of an exploratory. Yes. Okay, so why some people do qualitative method because they want to explore or they want to look into a case study. Okay, so that's why they use uh, qualitative method on doing their research. Okay, and research question can be evolved as you progress with your coding and team identification. So this is happen when you process your data. Okay, and sometimes yes, it's true that I also face the experience when I do the coding for my PhD thesis. Yes, sometimes I have to adjust my research question according to the result that I got from the interview process. Okay, for your informations, I did my PhD on the I use the thematic analysis, and the worst part is I have to interview 30 set, okay, 30 set of respondents where it involved grandmother, mother, and daughter. So altogether, I have each set they have 3, so I have to interview 90. Okay, 90 people. Can you imagine how much data I need to process and how much interview session I need to type. Okay, and the worst part is I have to do it in Malay, so I have to translate it into English. Okay, and then it involved 2 times of doing the what we call it. You need to type each word. Okay, they have a term there. Okay, when they call the term is they call verbatim. Okay, you need to do a verbatim. For my case, I have to do 2 times. Okay, from the 90 people, so I have to do 180 because I have to 2 times because from Malay transfer to English. First, I have to type in Malay all everything, and then I have to transfer it. So for information, it took me 2 years, okay, to do the transcribing. Okay, so that is one of the hassle when you do thematic analysis because all the words, okay, need to be typewritten. Okay, and you later then we process the data accordingly from do it into codes, then we segregate it into teams. Okay, so how thematic analysis work? So these are the example here. Okay, from the diagram you can see from the data. The data normally thematic analysis. Normally they will use the interview data. Yeah, from the interview data. Okay, so they will quote the data. All right. When you identify the codes and you will put it, segregate it into which area. All right, and then you will go into the team. All right, so these are the 3 main things that you need to do. Okay, can you imagine for my doing my qualitative data for my PhD last time, I spent it 2 years. Okay, for coding, I spent it 8 months. Okay, and then for when we reach into teams, it takes me only 3 months. Okay, that means it takes me altogether 3 years. Why I have to face for 3 years? Because I have so many respondents involved. All right, because it involves 3 set. One set comprised of 3 different person. Okay, so thematic analysis looks at patterns of meaning in data sets. For example, set of interview or focus group transcripts. Okay, and then thematic analysis take bodies of data which are often quite large. Yes, this is true. Okay, totally true. And groups then group them accordingly to similarities. Okay, in other words, it's known as themes. Okay, then this theme help to make sense of the content and derive meaning from it. Okay, afterward I will show you the theme. So normally when you do the findings, normally we'll only reveal the themes. Okay, we don't reveal the codes. Yeah, the themes that need to bring in our findings. Okay, so I give you this example. So maybe I know that some of you still blur, or you cannot, maybe you cannot understand. So I give you some example here. Okay, let's take a look at this example. Okay, with thematic analysis, you could analyze 100 review of popular sushi restaurant to find out what patron thinks about the place. Okay, so by reviewing the data, okay, you or we would then identify the themes that crop up repeatedly with the data. So this example, okay, why they like the restaurant. So majority maybe say a fresh ingredient. Okay, maybe they will say the price is reasonable. And some will say friendly wait staff. So they say that the waiter is friendly. So there might be either more reason for it. Okay. So these are the caption, or these are the keywords that we need to identify what make people wanted, what make the sushi restaurant is popular. Okay, in that particular place. Okay, so as you can see, thematic analysis can be pretty useful to find out about people experience, okay, views and opinion. Okay, therefore, if your research aim and objective involve understanding people experience or view of something, thematic analysis can be the great choice. Okay. So this is a good example whereby once you say you want to use the thematic analysis, asking about the people experience, okay, people opinion, okay, one way is interviewing people, so you will get this result. So this can be the theme, fresh ingredient. Okay, so you will in your finding, so you will elaborate more on the what they mean by the fresh ingredient. Okay, so this is theme number 2, friendly wait staff. Why the staff is friendly? So you need to explore or write it in your findings. Okay, and you need to put the evidence of the transcribe. I will show you afterwards. Okay. I hope you understand it a bit when based from this example. Yeah, if I don't give example, maybe you cannot get what I'm trying to say, because qualitative analysis is qualitative research is quite difficult if you don't really understand it, because I know that most students been explored with the quantitative research. Okay, but the good thing about qualitative research, we do it in depth. Okay, for example, like fresh ingredient, so we have to question back why they love the fresh ingredient, what are the difference with the frozen ingredient. So this thing you need to go in depth, and you also have to check why the waiter is so friendly. All right. Okay, so codes is in the thematic analysis. Okay, codes is a label okay, assigned to a piece of text and aims of using a code to identify and summarize important concept within the set of data such as interview transcript. So before you doing the code or coding, you need to get the data. So the data, this is from the transcribing of the interview. So you can turn it into codes, and from the codes, you you take it as a team. Okay, you group it into teams. Okay, so how we going to identify codes? Okay, for example, if you had a sentence, my rabbit eat my shoes, you could use the codes rabbit or shoes. So that is code. All right, to highlight these two concepts. Okay, the process of signing code is called coding. Okay, where you categorize data in a way that allow you to derive themes and patterns. Okay, codes are vital as they are foundation for teams. Okay, and a theme is a pattern that can be identified within a data set. Okay, in other words, is a topic or concept that pops up repeatedly throughout your data. Okay, so grouping your codes into teams serve you as a way of summarizing section of your data in a useful way that helps you answer your research questions and achieve your research aim and objective. Okay, so after you got your data, you need to identify the codes. Okay, these are the example how you can identify the codes, and then when you have the list of code, then you need to group it, and you group it into a team. Okay, and from the team you bring up into your findings. Okay, I hope you have some ideas, yeah, about this thematic analysis. Okay, so since thematic analysis is a bit of an exploratory process, not unusual for your research question to develop or even change as you progress through the analysis. While this is somewhat neutral in exploratory research, it can also be seen as an advantage, as it means that the that data needs to be re-reviewed each time a research question is adjusted. Okay, so you have to bear in mind once you analyze your data, sometimes it requires you to adjust your research question. Okay, this is because based from the response or answers from the respondent. All right, so you cannot stick to your research question, okay, because actually your research question supposed to have a base from the answer of the respondent. Okay, if the answer of the respondent is different from your research question, then you will have problem. So that's why it's the best way once you get the answer and you find that your research question in the first place not support with the answer, so you need to adjust in order to show that your research question and the result is tally, yeah. Otherwise the panel will question you. All right, so in other words, thematic analysis can be quite time consuming. Yes, very true. Okay, thematic analysis is very time consuming. Okay, but for a good reason. Okay, So keep this in mind that you choose to use thematic analysis for your project and budget extra time for unexpected adjustment is very true. Okay, so that's why I have a solution. That's why I recommend my student, if they really want to finish on time or grade on time, so we have to find other option. Okay, that's why I recommend narrative analysis. Okay. Okay, so before we close on the thematic analysis, here I can quote that thematic analysis takes bodies of data and group them according to similarities, which help you make sense of the content. Okay, and for your information, there is two software that will help you to handle your data. Okay, one of the software is, Azmin, you know what is the two software available? One is what?
We have Atlas TI and as well as
Atlas TI.
NVivo.
Yes, and NVivo. Okay, for my thesis, I use NVivo, but you need to learn a lot of the, there is the technical parts that you need to learn, but I think Atlas TI is more friendly compared to the NVivo, yeah. Okay, so take a deep breath and then we go to narrative analysis. Okay. Okay, before we go to the to what I have written here, okay, I open. I just want to ask you, what if you say at the narrative analysis, what actually in your minds? Anyone can answer me on this, please? When we say narrative analysis, what actually in your mind?
Narrative analysis is like we tell stories to the what we call readers or orang yang mendengar tu lah.
Okay, you tell story. Anyone else? Thank you, Sharif. Anyone else?
It have chronology, timeline.
Yes, yes, true. It has chronology and timeline. Okay, when we talk about narrative analysis, I would like to bring you to National Geographic. Okay, you try to recall back what is National Geographic trying to do. You go to the other documentary popular one is National Geographic, and then Discovery Channel. Okay, and in Malaysia channel we have Majalah 3. Okay, so that is a good example of what narrative analysis is all about. Okay, so when you look into the Discovery channels or you look into the National Geographic, okay, so they are trying to narrate or tell you story about a certain thing. Okay, you get me? So that actually is a narrative analysis. So meaning to say, for the Discovery Channel, Majalah 3, for the National Geographic, they try to tell you stories based on the main issue that they want to show you. Okay, but they do it in videos, okay, in documentary. So like your case for writing a thesis, so you need to write it up. So how you want to write it up? So you write it up. Again, you can reflect the National Geographic. You can relate the Discovery channels. Okay, that's mean while you writing, you can paste pictures. Okay, you can paste the interview the interview scripts, okay, in your findings. Okay, is allowed. So that is narrative analysis all about. Okay, so narrative analysis, it can be done through the interviewing process. It can be done from the field work. Okay, it can be based from your ethnography method. Okay, it can be based from your observations. Then you narrate it. All right. So that actually is a narrative analysis all about. So that's why I tell my students, rather than use thematic analysis, okay, you can do the narrative analysis. All right. Okay. So here, if you look into the text here, narrative analysis is all about listening to people, telling stories, and analyzing what that means. Okay. Since stories serve a functional purpose.
那个谁往里来了，往里来了。
Azmin, can you settle that?
他们应该也看到咱们的包。
Okay. So, since stories serve a functional purpose of helping us make sense of the world, we can gain insights into the ways that people deal with and make sense of reality by analyzing their stories and the ways they were told. Okay. So in the diagram here, they show you the process. Okay. And narrative analysis is very interesting because not even through the field work, through interviewing process also you can use narrative analysis. Okay, it's not wrong. Okay, you can narrate whatever the data from the interview you have. Okay. So function of narrative analysis, okay, can be used to explore whether how something is being said is important. So you want to enforce that someone say about certain thing or certain point, you can enforce it in your writings. And the best if you can back up with evidence. So evidence can be the transcript, it can be the pictures, what they're trying to show you. Okay, so narrative analysis is not only writing. You can go, you can support it with your pictures. You can support it with your transcripts. Yeah, so that's why narrative sometimes you can do it as what have been done in the National Geographic or Discovery channels or Majalah 3. Okay, so provide powerful insight into their mindset and perspective. So you try to influence people based from the points, information you got from your respondent. Okay, and narrative analysis is about paying attention to the stories that people tell, and more importantly, the way they tell. They tell them. So how their expressions, okay, you can also include in your analysis, okay, how the people feel, okay, about certain issue. So you can narrate, okay, and tell the true story. Okay, so that is what the National Geographic or the Discovery Channel did, right? So whoever have no experience of watching National Geographic or Discovery Channel, I hope maybe when you have free times, you can Google and you can have a look, okay, into that, so you will understand what I'm trying to say here. Okay, So narrative analysis is all about listening to people, telling story to gain insight into the ways that people deal with and make sense of the reality. Okay. So when we talk about narrative analysis, normally narrative analysis is much popular in inductive method. Okay, so narrative analysis, it works well with inductive method. Okay, so an inductive approach to research begin by collecting data that is relevant to the topic of interest. Once substantial amount of data has been collected, the researcher will then take a breather from the data collection, stepping back to get a bird eyes view of the data. So you know what the mean of the bird eyes view? So they will try to understand more, okay, behind the words, okay, behind the evidence or behind whatever they seen, okay. They will try to elaborate more from what they see or from what they hear, okay. In many coding methods, it's common to split up an interviewee narrative into smaller pieces and group them by theme with other interview statements. Okay, this break up the individual personal narrative. Yes, it's true. Okay, compare with the thematic analysis. Okay, they have the they do the coding. Okay, in narrative analysis also you can code. Yeah, you can code it or you can just take note. Okay, you just take note about the main point or the main theme that you captured from the data or from the observation that you had made, and that one will be the themes that you will put in your what we call it findings. Okay, so that is the inductive method in narrative analysis. Okay, so next question, can qualitative data be deductive? Okay, normally inductive approach are generally associated with qualitative research, while deductive approach are more commonly associated with quantitative research. However, there are no set rules, and some qualitative studies may have a deductive orientation. Okay, so I don't want to make you have you confused with that. Okay, deductive normally are being used in quantitative research. Okay, but it can also be done in a qualitative research, no problem. But commonly people use it in a quantitative research. So you don't for my advice, okay, you don't crack your head. We just follow the flow if you want to be safe. Okay, so deductive deductive approach, better you use it in your quantitative method. So in qualitative, you just focus into inductive approach. All right, so that will make you in the safe side. Okay, so I think as a conclusion, yeah, don't worry, this is not the conclusion overall, but this is conclusion for this presentation. But later I will show you example of my student who did the thematic analysis, and he got distinction, yeah, for this research. And I will show you the example. Maybe you can have some ideas. All right, so for the conclusions, okay, both methods have pros and cons. As you know, that both methods have a pro and cons. And the most important, you have to consider how much time given to you. Okay, if you plan to graduate on time, okay, and you have to make sure that if you're you have maybe you want to focus only 2 research question, maybe you can you have 2 research question and you only want to interview a few people, then you can proceed with thematic analysis. But you will need to interview more than 10 people and you have 3 research questions to answer. So my advice, 2 years, 3 years is not enough. Okay, for thematic analysis, because it's very, very time consumed. Okay, and then when you do a thematic analysis, you must have a budget allocation. Okay, why you need to budget allocation? Because you need to hire people to do the transcribe for you. Okay, if you do your transcribe alone, okay, it takes years. So you don't want to cut short. Okay, you want to GOT, so you must have a budget allocation on into it. Okay, so you hire people to do the transcript, and also you need to hire what we call it editor to edit all the words, okay, to ensure that the words is typed correctly and the grammar is in the right manner. Okay, so all that involve budget. Okay, is the method of analysis suitable for your objective and your research question? That also you need to answer. Okay, you need to answer whether which one, whether thematic is you can apply this, or you want to use a narrative analysis. So this one you need to really discuss with your supervisors. Okay, if your supervisors they don't have expertise, so you can ask your supervisor to have a look, or ask other lecturer who have this experience to help over. Okay, maybe you can take them as a 3rd or 4th supervisor. It's okay. All right, because your supervisor don't have expertise on this area. All right. And then how confident you are with the recommended method of analysis. So this also, when you choose to use one of it, you need to have a basic understanding. You need to take courses. Okay, you don't just go and do it. Okay, like my case, now I have 3 or 4 students doing the narrative analysis. I provide them with books and videos for them to really understand what is narrative analysis all about. Okay, that means before you embark doing the narrative analysis or thematic analysis, you must have knowledge. Okay, you don't embark without knowledge, otherwise you will be in the deep shit, or sorry, in the deep problems. Okay, in the deep trouble. All right. And what type of finding you want to reveal? Okay, if you want to tell the true story, okay, if you want to just look into the trend, so thematic is the best. If you want to tell the true stories, whatever you want to reveal based from your observation, so narrative analysis is the best. Okay. All right. So I off this and I will share example from I have only thematic analysis. The narrative analysis I cannot reveal because the student is still in progress, and the student I have to cannot reveal my student work because he haven't finished the thesis. Yeah, so this one she already graduated, so I can show you. Okay, all right. So this is a research finding. Before they go to research finding, there is a few answers that normally you need to answer. Yeah. Okay, I will start with from here. Okay, so this is narrative. Yeah. Okay, basically, okay, we go and from the okay, so this is for the for how we write the chapter 4. Okay, so for chapter 4 findings, of course, you must have the introduction. Okay, so introduction, you have to reveal how many sections that we'll have in this section. Okay, and then you go to the, you have to mention again about the data collection method. Okay, and then so we go to research paradigm, we go to sampling, so you just need to recall again. Okay, and then instrument, just to finalize. Okay, so this is very important, the idea behind the data analysis. Okay, so here they mention, after the interview, the process of organizing, analyzing the data begins. Okay, the research begin with listening and converting. So here you mention whatever you have done. Okay, once you get the data. Okay, so here the interview session is conducted in Bahasa Malaysia. The audio recording is first transcribed into the text in Bahasa Malaysia before being edited and translated in English. Okay, this is done solely to ensure the informant understand the topic under discussion. Okay, you see, furthermore, transcribing one interview session takes a long time. You see, you have to mention here, all right? A transcribe of an interview session takes at least 5 to 7 hours for a researcher to complete. Yeah, so this is for one interview. Okay, however, this study required a total of, luckily she have a 13 interview session with transcribe, so you can times 7. Okay, which could take at least a week to complete if done without a break. Okay, so she mentioned all the activity that been relate to the data collection. Okay, so here she mentioned all the activities. Then you mentioned about the informant profile. So who are the informant profile? So you have to mention here. Okay. So to answer the study question, it should be noted that the individual interviewed consists of people in their teens, 20s, and 30s. Okay, in this study, the contribution of information from each age group belonging to the younger generation is important. To be more specific, 4 informant were in 30s, 8 were in 20s. So she described based from this information. Okay. So this one all based from the informant profile. Okay, so this is a general question. So after that, they have a general question. So the general question is, who exposed Bugis tradition food? So this is how they start doing the finding. Okay, so the first question was about exposed Bugis traditional food younger generation. So the question result. So here they mentioned that 3 themes that clearly stated. So they identify on this question. So they have 3 themes. Okay. So this question necessary for identify who have some information about their ethnic traditional food. Okay. So So they have to go each team. So like parents, okay. So these are the findings. So for thematic analysis, so you have to mention all these, yeah, all these based from this. Okay, this is the evidence. Okay, so based from this evidence, you have to summarize into these two paragraph. Okay, these two paragraph actually are being summarized based from these two evidence. So that is thematic analysis. So whatever written here actually is picked up from this. Actually, they have more, but they just put two which is much relevant. Okay. So whatever they written here actually are mentioned here. Okay. So this is the transcript. I first learned about this traditional food in secondary school when I was a kid. I used to watch my mother prepare and cook this food, but I just ignore it. Okay, but as I grow older, I learned how to cook it as well. I'm able to improve my cooking. Okay, that looks how she wrote. Okay. They learn many things such how to walk and talk, as well how to eat for the first time at home. Everyone raised by their parents. Okay. Along with that, it's known for parents to introduce the food used to eat when they were growing up to their children. Therefore, undeniably, when larger number of informants stated that they learn about their ethnic traditional food from their parents, we already know that traditional food is a cultural heritage or tradition that is still practiced today. And it also is a norm for most community, including Bugis in Malaysia, to prepare this one on special occasion, particularly Hari Raya. Okay, so the traditional food practice is very important and is being passed down to the next generation to ensure its continuity. So this you have to mention here before you put the evidence. So actually, this is how the narrative analysis used in the findings. Okay, so this is the second theme. Okay, so you need to write down the summary, okay, the findings, and you need to put the evidence. So these two is the evidence. All right. Okay, so this okay. 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 Beside in the thematic analysis, okay, beside for like this one, okay, beside you you have team, you can also put the evidence of pictures here. Okay, so these are the pictures. You also can put the pictures so that whatever you say, people will visualize. All right, so this is the dishes that mentioned in the finding, so you can put, okay, to let the reader to visualize what you're trying to say. Okay. All right. So when we do the discussion, okay, this is not everyone know. When you do thematic analysis, okay, when you do a discussion, okay, okay. So when you do a discussion, all right, discussion actually for your information, we are trying to focus on. We recall back the objective. Okay, we call back the objective and we review back the findings. Okay, at the end of the day, okay, so for example, like research question 1, okay, summary of analysis. So we begin with the summary of analysis. Okay. So we have to put like this. Okay. The research objective, the research question, and for each question we have a sub question. So this you have 5 sub question. All right. So we have to reveal in your discussion. Okay. So you just summarize. This is our first sub question were reviewed in answering RQ1, SQ1, focus on one or blah blah blah. All right. And then you need go to each of the sub question, and lastly you need to do this. Yes, you need to do this. Okay. You need to do this. So this is like a diagram, or you can use this visual. That means is the result from your research. Okay, in qualitative data, in the qualitative research, end of the day you have to come out with this. Okay. These are the topic, the understanding of Bugis traditional food. So these are the result that you got from your research. Okay, food variation, so serving purpose, depth of knowledge. Okay, food characteristic, changes in preparation. Okay, and you can break up into based from the objective. Okay, so this one is factor that encourage Bugis traditional food practices. So they have 3 here. Okay. So this is the final one. Okay, that means this for the research question 2, and this is for the research question 1. Okay, this is the answer for the research question 1, and these are the answer for the research question 2, and they will come into this. So these are the research title. Okay, and this one you can make a article. Okay, so if we talk about article, so you can do 3 article from this research. Okay, based from this diagram. So this diagram, 1 article, 2 article, and then you can come up when you already published the 2 article, then lastly you publish this 1 article. So total you got 3 articles. Okay, what time is now? Wow, it's 11. All right, I think I stop here first. So maybe I open for a short question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Dr. Muhammad Shazali, for the sharing session and the presentation. So there are several questions that has been posted in the chat box. So some of the question, what are the, I think what is in the simplest the explanation, what are the difference between narrative and thematic analysis?
Okay, narrative analysis and thematic, they have the process of doing it is a 2 different way. When you say that you want to do narrative analysis, you actually you are telling stories. Okay, you are telling stories based from what you observe and the data or the point that you already taken. All right, and there is a lot of words, but you can support with your pictures or with your transcript. Compare with thematic analysis. Thematic analysis, you have to go through with a few process. okay, and the supervisor need to check, okay, all the evidence that you do the coding, you do the identify the themes, that all have to put in an evidence, okay. But for the narrative analysis, okay, you do your own notes and your own transcribe, okay, and you can just show to your supervisor the main point that you got from the interview session, and you put into writings. Whereas for thematic analysis, there is procedure, whereas you need to have a certain certified person to have a look into your transcript and so on. Okay, so thematic analysis, there is a process where you need to hire a professional to recognize your what we call that, your transcribe, what have you been transcribing, and they have to look, especially when from Malay to English, you must hire someone to endorse that is been translate correctly. Okay, so that is a process. Whereas for the narrative analysis, is just based from whatever you saw and whatever you hear. Okay, but the evidence, of course, you need to keep it, and you don't need to have the individual or agencies to endorse whatever you have taken or you transcribe. Okay, so that is my answer.
Okay, another question is, can we group the finding from the narrative analysis?
Sorry, can we?
Can we group the finding from the narrative analysis?
Yes, why not? You can group. Of course, you have to group. For example, that when you do narrative analysis, again, you must have your research question, and it's good. Each research question have to be back with sub questions. Okay, so that means each sub question you will have point for each sub question. Otherwise, if you don't have a research question and you don't have sub question, so your findings, okay, will not be systematic, will not be written in systematic way. Next question, Dr. Azmin.
Okay, Doctor, can I use narrative or thematic analysis for phenomenology study?
Yes, you can use both phenomenology. I think the best is you use narrative. If you ask me, is the best way is you use narrative analysis, because you can narrate it wisely, okay, because it's open. Next.
So other is from Hafiz. I think he asked about whether we need to get an expert opinion when we transcribe our Bahasa Malaysia interview into English.
Yes, definitely, especially when you do in thematic analysis. Okay, compare with narrative analysis. Okay, when you listen, okay, you can change it based from your understanding, and you put it as your notes. Okay, you can put it as your note because you are doing the narrative analysis. So that means your findings, you the raw data you get from the for example, like you get from the record of interviewing. So from the record of interviewing, you just put into notes. Okay, you just put into notes, and then you narrate in your finding, unless you want to use it as evidence, so you need to transcribe it a bit. And you put it as evidence as I show you in the example just now. Okay? That one, if you, that's one, you may ask expert to look into your translation, especially when it involves from Bahasa Malaysia to English. Okay, if you don't want to put it as evidence, so you just can narrate, okay, in your finding.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Muhammad Shazali. I think that is all the question from the participant. So with that, this marks the end of our webinar today. So on the behalf of the postgraduate office, I would like to thank you to the speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Shazali Mat Sharif, for the sharing session and giving us the in-depth insight into the qualitative analysis in regard to the narrative as well as the thematic analysis. So I hope that the sharing session will be beneficial to all of the students to deepen the knowledge that we have in regards to the qualitative analysis. So I hope that all of the input, all of the feedback that has been given by the speaker will be very beneficial to your future study. So before we end, I would like to take some picture. Mastura, can you take the picture for us?
Okay.
Okay, please. For those who can open their camera, please, we take some picture together.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more time, yeah? One, 2, 3.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you all to all the participants for coming to our webinar today. Thank you for your time and effort to come. So I hope that we will meet again next week. So next week, the postgraduate will is scheduled to have 2 webinars in Wednesday as well in Friday. So I hope to see you again next week and have a great weekend for the all participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Azmi. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
For joining.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalam. Thank you. Terima kasih Puan Jazira.